Welcome back to Boys and Ghouls Film Review, folks. I'm your host, Sarah Stephenson. This is my co-host, Mike Stephenson.
Hi, guys.
And tonight we will be reviewing Dead of Summer, that was released in 2016.
Yeah, this is an American teen supernatural horror television series. It's a 10-parter.
Yeah, and it's based around the 80s again.
But yeah, it's a little bit like
Stranger Things and the new Stephen King's It. They're trying to, I think a lot of filmmakers are trying to recapture that old period.
When was Friday the 13th based? I think
it was in the 80s.
Yeah, I think they're probably trying to cover that period because people like it.
Yeah, because a lot of people like that old period. I don't know why, but I guess it's pretty interesting.
The clothing was interesting, the music was interesting, the kills were interesting.
And I guess the filmmakers themselves were brought up in that era.
Probably. Well, you think about when George Lucas did American Graffiti, he grew up in a town like that, I believe, and the music they used for the background music for American Graffiti was out of George Lucas's record collection.
Yeah, just so you guys know, I was born in the 80s, but I didn't have any time to work out what the clothings and the music style was. Well, I didn't know the music style. I had my own music list that I memorized when I was growing up.
When she was a child. But me, I go back to 1950. 1954.
Yeah. So I kind of knew about music like stylings like from Elton John, Lionel Richie, and
so you like the good stuff,
and all those sort of ones that I grew up with.
I grew up when I was a young fellow. I know we're digressing here. I grew up in the music scene in Sydney, Australia, and I used to go to all the jazz dives. My friends would go and see rock music and pop music. I was seeing jazz, and later on, I got into punk and new wave. Wouldn't read about it, would you? Now, let's get on to the usuals.
Yeah.
Okay, created by Adam Horowitz, Edward Kitsis, and Ian Goldberg. They also co-produced it with ABC Signature, which is a Disney production company.
No surprise.
It was also written by these three gentlemen, Adam, Edward, and Ian, and they had a couple of other writers come in to assist on some of the episodes.
It's a good thing that I didn't even know that until now.
What's that?
If Disney got a hand in it, we all know what Disney's habit of making horror.
It's not a bit. Let us not get into Disney and horror. Okay.
They're not good at it.
Disney did not write the story, okay?
Yeah, another thing I should mention before Mike begins with the rest of the cast is that according to November 2000, the Freeform, that's probably the studio who created...
That's another Disney...
Yeah, well, they cancelled the series after one season, which
I know why.
Which Mike and I agree that it was probably... There's no going forward with the story.
Well, that's part of it, but I'll explain that a bit later on. But I'll give a quick overview before Sarah gets into telling the story.
Yeah.
It's set in the 1980s, like I think Sarah said before, at a place called Camp Stillwater in a Midwestern summer camp. Now, Sarah mentioned this Freedom, which is a Disney crowd, gave it straight to series order. The series was conceived as an anthology. So each series was supposed to be a separate group of people for slightly different storyline, but still based around the camp.
Yeah.
Because, wait a minute, Josh, the series was going to be, I think, I've got it written down somewhere else, but I think the second series was going to go back 20 years earlier, and the next season was going to be about 10 to 15 years after this.
Oh, I get it.
So they got different periods in the same camp.
I see what you mean. I see what you're going there, Mike.
So, yeah, it could have been very good.
Yeah, but you know how studios are. They want to go for a new idea and they just move on. They probably didn't think there's nothing more in this story.
No, there was, but the historical side. What's that one we did there in that little village one? When they went back in time and had that guy.
Oh, you mean Fear Street?
Yeah, Fear Street. Yeah, they went back
Where
in time and
where
stuff.
in that one it dealt with the 90s, the 80s, or the 1970s, I think.
And 1600s.
And then the
or something?
1600s,
Yeah. So
whatever.
oh, actually 16,
And
66.
considering that one had another 80s related topic.
Yeah, but started off in the 80s.
No, started off at the 90s, and
Or
then
90s.
and then in the second one it was the 80s
yeah.
or 70s anyway.
70s, 80s.
And then
Similar period. Anyway, let's move on. I think I'll do some cast stuff.
Yeah.
There's quite a few people here.
Yeah, but they're all the same, and they're all throughout the episodes, except when they get killed off, obviously.
So I'm going to just mention their names and some of their. I don't want to say too much because it might give away what's going on. We have Elizabeth Mitchell plays Deb Carpenter. We believe the role is named after John Carpenter, but we don't know
This is probably the second
time.
time I've seen a movie or a mini-series. We did a mini-series last year, and we found out one of the characters was also named Amanda Carpenter in that one. Or not Amanda Carpenter, just Carpenter.
Here we go. Elizabeth Lyle plays Amy Hughes. Very nice, pretty young blonde lady. Amber Coney plays Carolina Cricket Diaz. Alberto Frezza plays Deputy Garrett Towney Sykes. He used to be a kid in the town who went to summer
Italian.
camp. Frezza? No, it could be Latin, like Mexican or something. I don't know. Eli Gorey plays Joel Goodson. Who was on Joel? Doesn't matter.
Let me see.
Because he had the naughty guys too. So
I know.
Mark Indelicato plays Blair Ramos. He's a little gay boy who's trying to find himself. Ronan Rubinstein plays Alex Powell, originally born Alexei Favanov. He's a Russian boy trying to Americanise himself.
Yeah.
Now, here Paula Singer plays Jessica,
Or
Jessie, or nickname Braces, Tyler. And Zelda Williams plays Drew Reeves, born Andrea Dalton. She's a girl who's having an identity crisis. I think she's a boy.
Yeah, and as a special treat for all you guys who are into him, which I imagine you are.
Who's that?
Drum roll, please.
Oh, come on. Yes.
Tony Todd is going to be starring as a sort of mysterious man in this movie.
Yes, I was actually getting on to the next group.
I know, but Tony Todd, as you guys are well aware,
Tony Todd,
he
the original
has played
Candyman and other good Ruby things.
And he was in Final Destination.
Was he in the Tales from the Hood? One of those? The third one or something?
Yeah,
The naughty guy who's taking the kid away was going to kill the kid, but the kid actually ended up killing him. Yeah, whatever, That was really good. I like Tony. There's something about Tony Todd's voice.
He's got that really
It's a little bit
deep...
like Tobin Bell's got a voice. You go, ooh, okay.
Yeah, he's got that deep voice that
And
draws you
menacing,
in.
It's sort of silky, smooth, ominous, menacing. All good stuff. Now, I was going to mention him anyway, but anyway, Charles Mazur plays Sheriff Boyd Heelan. He also has another role which I won't mention. Tony Todd, we've already mentioned. He plays Hollyoak, the tall man he's referred to occasionally. Andrew West plays Damon Crowley, whoever his Damon is. Blah 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 blah.
Most of it's all...
but it's supporting actors, so I'm not going to go too far.
Most of them are just hit and miss in one or two
there's
episodes.
There's a lady here, it says Janet Kidder plays Mrs. Sykes, which is a deputy's mum who works at the cafe.
I swear, that name, every time I hear that name, I think of Charles Dickens.
Oh, okay.
I think there was a character in Oliver Twist named Sykes.
Well, Eric, whatever. There's a comedian in England called Eric Sykes. So let's just move on and tell the story. No, story time.
Okay, so
Once upon a time, the three bears.
So the story begins where all the kids, they're counsellors, I should mention, the ones we mentioned so far. They're going to this nice camp, and they're going to be volunteering as counsellors and all that stuff.
And there's no Jason Voorhees anywhere in this one.
And Amy, which we follow throughout this production, throughout this web TV series.
She's a nice girl.
She's a nice girl. A little bit of doesn't know about anything about what's going down. She acts all innocent.
She's trying to be nice and friendly to everybody.
Yeah, you think she's the final girl in this production, but
as we all often have a nice, cute, pretty mentally sound,
Yeah.
all those good groovy things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we meet the other cast. We meet Cricket, the girl who turns out she used to have gained weight but now lost weight.
Yeah, and she looks pretty good now.
And looks pretty good, and she's desperately wanting attention, which is her problem in this movie. I mean, series.
Whatever.
And there's that. Let me see. His Alex's character who wants to recreate himself as an all-American.
An all-American boy is actually all-American Russian.
Yeah.
But his grandfather said, go out and take. People aren't going to give you anything. Go and take
it.
Yeah, otherwise you won't get it. So he's a little bit bent, but I think he's basically a nice guy, just trying to get ahead.
Blair is the gay kid, and
he's
he's
a
trying.
nice boy,
And he's trying to look for
acceptance.
Acceptance.
Yeah.
And Drew is a girl, but wants to be a boy.
She's always thought for herself as a boy.
Yeah.
And so she dresses like a boy and all those other good groovy things and tries to act tough like a boy, but
and all the time that she's pretending throughout the story, everyone who comes to the camp, all the counsellors, they all come for different reasons to be there.
Yeah,
like,
to find themselves,
recreate themselves, be something that they're not.
A bit of somewhere in between that and coming of age sort of stuff. Yeah. Because they're
Yeah, they all came from different backgrounds, but with different stories.
Yeah, different baggage and stories and whatever.
And as I said before, throughout these episodes, they will give a flashback of those people's individual stories.
Considering we've got 10 episodes, you'll move along a bit.
Okay. So they arrive, they get on the bus, and they head to the camp.
And the wheels on the bus go round.
And as they start attending the camp and the kids there, strange things start occurring that has something to do with this Tony Todd character. Isn't that right, Mike?
Yes, somewhere.
Yeah.
He's referred to, like I said, some people see him, I saw a man in the shadows, a tall man.
Yeah. One of the kids is who's a Russian kid.
Yeah, another little Russian kid, little boy.
He starts seeing him, and he starts drawing pictures of him and where you could find him, or where he
had an idea.
Find him.
Yeah, somehow or other is linked somehow. We don't know. It didn't actually say how or why, but he was a sensitive maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
I think that throughout the story, he's Tony. What's his name? Tony Todd's character again?
Holyoke.
Yeah, it's Holyoke. He makes appearances to either some of the kids at the camp or the counsellors.
Some of the counsellors, but it comes over in a threatening manner.
Yeah. Anyway.
So everyone thinks he's evil, don't they?
Mm-hmm. True. And all the time, everyone is baffled. They think that they suspect, or Garrett, the deputy of the police, suspect it's actually the tall man is actually a bunch of gang-related punks who selling drugs.
Yeah, and he knows the guy because he went to school with him as a friend of his when he was younger.
But again, he's misses the point in here and there. Yeah. He also suspects that these guys are just cultists who are trying to access power from the lake. That develops through the episodes. Yeah, he seems to discover evidence that linking up to a cult that's kind of where they're trying to access a demon from the lake.
Who lives in the lake? Yeah, his father was the sheriff before him when he was a child, was looking into it as well, and he died.
Yes,
so mysteriously, we believe.
Yeah, at the same spot that they later on discover.
Well, at the campground. Yeah.
Anyway, so they then find out that there is a doorway to this sort of to where this demon lives, and I suspect that it's not that the doorway is within the lake. Because
I don't know.
I think it's just like when you look at a Ouija board that can access both ghosts and demons and angels if you want. Well, not the angels.
Well, there is some sort of portal in the lake, but they actually did some stuff in a cave as well, which had a cave there later on, and it had water and stuff on the ground in it, which might have been water from the lake in there as well. So
true.
So the water in the lake has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, see,
that's where the demon lives.
Yeah, I think that it's not only the demon, but I think that other spirits are attracted to this lake. Maybe it allows the spirits to somehow access to this world.
Who knows?
Because we do find out that Debbie, who had a history with the lake. She went there as a camp counselor, dated a nice-looking guy, and the next minute he died of slashing his wrist, and she sees him a couple times, and she seems to forget that he passed away just not too long ago.
Funny that, hey.
Yeah,
No, he's a drug overdose, wasn't he?
No, he slashed his wrists. I think. Yeah, it was a drug overdose. I don't know why I said it was.
No, because of that, the dark guy's brother.
He slashed his wrist. See, I'm sorry, guys. There is a bit of a mishmash.
Yeah, there's a couple of people committed suicide away from the camp.
Yes,
and their presence is one of them's presence is felt.
Yeah, one of the kids who's attending as a counsellor. His brother was also a counsellor at the same park.
A few years earlier.
And he went crazy up here, and because he kept seeing Holyoke, who kept saying...
Holyoke.
Telling him about who's giving these fearful visions. And that somehow passes on to his younger brother before he attends the camp. Which is never explained why that happened, unless he attended the camp and that's him.
One part that actually, we wonder why, but maybe the spirit world knew that. I don't know the guy who committed suicide.
Yeah, I heard of stories where
maybe that was part of the plan.
I heard of stories in ghost stories where they often say when you go to a haunted place like a haunted house, sometimes the spirits would latch onto another person.
That's what I was trying to say, but maybe it could be a bit deeper than that. So they knew the other person was going to come, and she was known to the other people in that town, and maybe Holyoke was trying to communicate with the other guy, saying this kid's a bad kid or a good kid or whatever, and trying to communicate, and he wasn't taking the message.
Holyoke, he keeps on telling one of the kids that you must kill Amy.
Yes.
Makes the kids all worried and anxious that that whether who to believe most of the time. They kept thinking, we can't kill Amy. She's a good person.
She's a very nice person.
She's very innocent, all that stuff.
Yeah, and his Holyoke guy, everyone believes he was a Satanist. But he died 100 years earlier, but he's still hanging around.
There's a bit of a flashback at the beginning where it showed Holyoke's members of his congregation, whatever,
drowning themselves. Well, apparently
drowned themselves
in the lake, and he was up there playing piano in his cabin.
And then he got caught by officials, and they probably killed him.
I'd say they were death words. A lynch mob back 100 years ago, most definitely.
Yeah, and
we're moving right along. It's a long series.
So anyway, they eventually. Amy does get abducted by the cult group, and they attempt to, mix their blood with her, whatever.
Yeah, her blood and their blood mixed together to give them a long life,
or something, or at least
live forever or something,
or to erase the demon.
Well, but they were also but that was part of the raise the demon and give them what do you call it? Eternal life, but like vampires and stuff.
Anyway, eventually Garrett saves her, and he suspects his sheriff of possibly being involved in the cultists. Do you think, Mike?
Well, he's starting to get a funny feeling, and things aren't quite right.
And he kills his sheriff guy, and I do suspect...
Well, he does accuse him, and they have an argument, and he actually found out at that time that the sheriff actually killed his father. Didn't he?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He said because his father was snooping around in the camp and that was no good, so he got rid of him.
Yeah. Yeah, now Garrett is under suspicion by the police or the FBI or whatever.
Probably whatever. State troopers, whatever. Somebody,
state troopers. And calling into question is insanity or sanity.
Yeah, but he wasn't locked up or anything.
No, he's relieved. I guess he's relieved of active duty, or if that's the word.
Yeah, he's relieved of duty until they investigate what was going on.
Yeah. Anyway, then eclipse happens, And
an eclipse, a solar eclipse,
Yeah.
which wasn't expected.
yeah,
It
somehow...
wasn't scheduled in the old almanacs.
Yeah, as it turns out, it happens, and Jessie, one of the girls, that's a very fancy girl. She wears a lot of fancy clothes
She
in
looks
this,
really nice.
and you think that she's the rich girl, but actually, in reality, she comes from a poor background, and her mum's a bit of a drug dealings
drugs,
and
partying,
partying too
and,
much.
party animal,
And before she came to camp, Jessie was more the study hard, hope to get ahead type of girl. You never think that in this TV series, but
not at the camp. No,
but all the time she tried to be a best friend to all the campers and
Yeah.
tried to be a better person for it.
yeah. Moving right on.
Anyway, she gets a message from one of her friends who died. Throughout this series, I should mention, some of the members of the counsellors get killed off one by one.
And actually, there's a few flashbacks developing their characters and a bit behind them. We won't go into all of them.
No, but eventually,
I'd be here all night,
the
folks.
ghost tells her to take the bones, Holyoke's bones, and throw them into the river. Lake. So she takes the bones and she throws them in the lake, and then we get a huge flashback that shows all of the information. We watch Holyoke leading his members to the lake, and he plans on doing a baptism of sorts.
Like a purification ritual. He wasn't an evil man at all.
Yeah, as his members are slowly wading themselves into water, the cultists, the old cultists, approached them and drowned a lot of them.
Like handmade goat masks type things on their faces.
Yeah, one of the
stuff.
head goat mask guys says, "We're going to pin the blame on you."
Yeah, try and get rid of him.
Yeah. And so they head off on their own way, and Julio goes to his cabin and starts playing a bit of a music on his piano.
It was supposed to be a thing to contain the beast, whoever it is.
He then acknowledges Jesse and the other kids that the people who are responsible are the cultists, but the demon in the lake is the one that's responsible. And this demon, if they don't see, the demon needs a host.
Yeah, they want to take over human bodies so they can actually,
and
do whatever they do.
He says that it's Amy who's the host now.
And they think, because she's pure, sweet, and innocent.
Yeah.
He wants to get a pure body which has not yet been corrupted, so he can corrupt it.
Yes. So.
Which is not necessarily the case, is it?
Yes. They decide to do a test where they take a little teeny crucifix that Jessie has and place it in her hand saying.
And she grabs it and she closes her hand on it and smiles and everything.
Yeah.
Everything appears to be good and as it should be.
Yeah, and then later on, as they then discuss what their next plan is, they know that Jessie may be possessed, but of course other people have different theories. They think that Holyoke might be tricking them, or the demon might be tricking them, or whoever's going.
Who can you trust?
Yeah. Anyway, eventually we find out that Amy is possessed by this demon thing, and Holyoke appears to all the camp counselors, and it's a bit of a surprise to all of us, isn't it, right, Mike?
Exactly.
Because usually he appears to either one or not. Well, just the chosen people he often appears to.
He chose them all because he needed them all.
Yeah. He then explains that. We need to purify Amy in order to save her soul, all that stuff.
Yeah, that's right, because he is technically a vessel for the demon now.
Yeah, and he has these special water that's not. He says that the water is pure and not damaged by the demons.
Oh, yeah. He said it's the last of pure water in the area because the lake's being corrupted by the demon and the death and everything, and this well inside his cabin is the last pure water source in the area.
Yeah. So he then starts playing the piano, playing the same music over and over, but something goes horribly wrong.
He gets killed by the demon or
and
something.
I should mention that on the piano there's a bit of a etching of a demon symbol, which indicate that maybe the piano has been corrupted or something by the demon.
I don't know.
We don't know when this took place.
We don't know when the skull was put there. Was it a skull or a sheep's head?
It was a bit of a
I can't remember.
5-point star with a skull head in
Yeah, that's right.
the middle.
It's a pentagram and a skull inside it. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's been corrupted by who knows.
Possibly.
Anyway, they tried to continue the purating ritual. They used the special water, splash it in the girl's face, yelling to stop this possession, all that stuff, the usual stuff.
Yeah.
And eventually, Jessie offers herself up to the demon.
Take me instead?
Yeah.
Oh, I know what a good girl.
Yeah, and eventually the demon does oblige, and for a minute we think Amy's okay, and then Jessie is placed into the purity water and into the well.
And
according to Juliak, he says that no one will survive being inside that well. We don't know why.
Because he drowns in there.
Yeah.
And then they get her out, though, and they give her out artificial respiration or whatever.
Yeah,
mouth
Amy
to mouth,
does anyway.
And they bring her back.
Yeah.
And
Eventually, Jessie revives, and we all think it's all good. But then we have only two more. We have one more episode to go. Yeah.
And everything starts to come together.
See, we watch the kids heading out, and Amy gives us a sinister smile, hinting that she's not completely cured of the demons.
Yeah, she's a beautiful girl with a lovely smile, but when she puts a little bit of an evil twinge on it, also there's something not going on right here at the moment.
Yeah.
And she's got the touch of evil about
yeah,
her,
Debbie,
but no one notices
the
except us.
counsellor, who's looking through some of Amy's stuff, she finds some clues to what's going on. She finds an identical piece of a map of a pentagram of indicating which people who died in what part.
I must explain. There's a map of the area, and there's a pentagram drawn over the map, giving coordinates, showing where people had to be killed off and or buried.
She also finds. Then the demon Amy appears, and she reveals to Debbie the whole thing that the demon doesn't want a pure, nice spirit or human. He wants a corrupt human.
He's already naughty.
Yes, and this is where we get the full story of Amy's life. Amy, when she was a little girl, killed her parents and her brother.
Yes, a little bit. Didn't Michael Myers do that?
Yes. And then when she was in foster care, she attended a party with a new friend, and she had her killed because they were both going to be counsellors, and there was only one position left.
Yeah, and so she made sure her friend died. So, instant vacancy, folks.
Yeah, and we also meet one of the girl that died's friend who tells the Debbie that Amy's not what she seems.
She's not. She's not really a blonde. She's a brunette. Oh, everyone lies sometime or other, don't they?
Yeah, so it seems Amy has been fooling everyone. She's been recreating herself and hiding the fact that she's not an innocent.
No, she's a killer. Mentally deranged, by the look of it too. But anyway.
And she doesn't want to be saved, as it turns out. She wants the demon and her to be
one. And have the power and everything else. And
somehow, long before the cultists tagged her, she's been killing all over the place from day one. Isn't that right, Mike?
Well, you're telling a story.
Well, I'm just saying that long before. I mean, the group thought, she was tagged by these cultists when they made her a host. In
wasn't someone
8.
killed on the way to camp?
Yes.
A boy got his head off or something or other?
Yes, he did. And another boy. Actually, it started off with a drowning, obviously, and then another boy who left the camp. Say episode 2, I think.
Yeah.
He got his head chopped off.
Yep.
And another girl got placed, and another victim got crushed by a bear trap.
Yeah, closed on her head.
Ouch.
I'm not going to say anything else. That would not... A bear trap on the head, that would hurt.
The rest of the group
A Band-Aid would not help.
The rest of the group find out about this, and they know they have to do what most kids would have done in those slasher movies back then.
Run home to mummy.
Run.
Okay.
They try to duck her, and of course, we eventually see that she's resurrected the dead spirits and corrupted them to work for her.
Exactly. Why not? You can't get good help nowadays, so you just got to dig them up any way you can.
Even though most of them have been either found or... Well, actually, she might have buried a few of them along the way and unaware that they're dead, or except...
Well, she knew where they were. She put
because I knew that Cricket was already dead, and everyone was grieving over her
and the
dead
dark
body.
guy, whatever his name was.
He's dead, obviously.
American guy.
I think he's Joel. I think he was.
I think it was Joel. Yeah, I can't remember his name. I know it's not very. Yeah, I can't remember all the names. Sorry.
Yeah, two of the other kids I mentioned. Blair and Drew, they got away, of course.
Yeah,
and
they took a busload of kiddies out of the camp.
Away from the Amy and the demon.
Yeah, they went with Deb in the bus.
Yeah, and Deb decided to be a distraction for the demon, so the kids won't get hurt.
So,
of course,
I think Drew figured out how to drive the bus, didn't she?
Yeah, she did. Yeah. And they did get outside the barrier away from the demon. Of course, when they think that it's all over, but...
the Russian kid says you've got to go back and help your friends.
Yeah.
Aha.
They try to phone in the police, and you know what happens when you phone in the police, don't you, folks? They are useless.
They put you on hold?
No, they're useless. Not being nasty to the real police out there, but this is what happens. In most movies, it does work successfully, or they ignore you, or they think this is a prank. But somehow they do it right.
That's the whole problem. I mean, your police get so many prank calls, it's really hard for them. Okay, we've got some demons or something going on up the camp there. Another prank call. The kids
soon discover the dead bodies, just like in those where you meet the final girl, and she's the one who discovers the dead bodies in the movie.
Eek.
Yeah, and eventually they start running when Amy starts appearing, and of course Garrett is the next one who gets slashed and gashed.
Yep, he certainly does.
Yeah, and he makes his final lovey-dovey moment with Jesse. Jesse and him have a bit of a history.
Yes.
They were both campers when they were at the same camp years ago.
He started being a horrible mean kid because he's being given a hard time
by Dad.
Because his dad was the sheriff there, and people gave him a hard time, and they gave him a hard time. We did something naughty and blah, 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 blah. And so he just kept getting, I'm going to get even. Yeah. He got over that when he got lost. He got over that. Yeah.
And Jessie, of course, was a nice girl and she liked him. Anyway, they kiss and we find out during this episode that Jessie has a little bit of Holyoke's soul within her. Yes. We don't know how this happened.
He transferred it. Yeah. Somehow or other.
For some gosh knows reason, we don't understand why her, obviously. Maybe it's the final girl stuff, we don't know.
Could be. Yeah, the good guy passing on some good stuff of his to her,
Yeah, so Alex and her are the only ones running around. Garrett rests on a bench and he tries to shoot Amy a couple of times. Bam, bam, bam. We don't know if that worked.
No.
Don't think so.
You can't kill a demon with a gun. No.
Yeah. And Alex makes the final sacrifice that he couldn't do a few episodes ago by doing a selfless act like his mum told him in a flashback that he should do something selfless, not something selfish.
Yes, selfless. Yeah. Big difference, folks. Look in the dictionary.
Yeah, and she chopped and sliced him. It didn't even give much a fight, to be honest.
Well...
And there was a scene where Amy approaches Jesse in the showers, and this is
she had a big axe in her hand, like when knocking down doors with like fire.
And she starts saying, Marco Polo type game.
Yeah, I'll say Marco, you say Polo.
Yeah, only it's Jesse and Tyler or something.
Whatever. Yeah.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. She tries to find her in the toilets, in the bar, and the shower stalls by swinging her axe around.
Smash the doors down,
like something I seen from The Shining.
Hope they're insured.
Yeah, don't know.
Yeah, whatever.
She gets to the final store. She doesn't find her. Oh, girl.
She stuck up into the roof cavity.
Yeah. I'm amazed how she was able to...
Very agile.
I'm amazed you didn't notice her. Yeah.
Well, when you're scared for your life, your body has wings. She just floats up there.
Yeah, anyway, she then meets up with Drew and Blair, and Garrett somehow survives his encounter with Amy, and they decide to form a plan by by luring her back to Holyoke's cabin.
Yes, the cabin in the woods.
But somehow the water in the world now is not pure.
Corrupted.
It's corrupted.
Yeah.
It's no longer pure. Sadly.
Yeah. Oops.
Because they left the door open, and it's just like if you didn't finish a seance or a Ouija board thing, you left the door open for demons to corrupt the area.
Yeah, they let the critter in or out. Yeah.
Yeah, they were not really smart, but then again, they're not.
They're kids,
they're
teenagers,
kids. Yeah, so they lead Amy back to the Julio's cabin, and they trap her using the water.
Yeah, it had some water still, the pure water still left in some canisters they were using.
A canister.
And they put a circle around so that is it like a bit like a binding spell.
Yeah, and then they used the walkie-talkies to play the music that Julio played by using a sort of a gramophone recording.
And also, the old tubular things that Thomas Edison first made up, an old one of those, but Amy had wiped the information off it, so there was no noise on it whatsoever.
Yeah. So the only bit of music left is on the a camcorder that Joel had. Joel had it all the time throughout all these movies.
Yeah. I mean, I thought he was there to do work, and all these walked around taking videos.
Yeah. Anyway, luckily enough, Holyoke's recording music is on there, so they're able to play it and weaken the demons.
Yeah, so all the new demons, the dead ones, they started dropping off like flies.
I think that they've been controlled by the demon or controlled by Amy.
Yeah, but they were dropping off first, but it was weakening Amy, but it wasn't killing her.
Yeah. Then Jesse grabs the axe that Amy was using and slices right into Amy.
Yeah.
Ending her life.
Who said blondes have more fun?
Ending Amy's life and restoring the natural order of things.
Yes, and it all came with the demon went back in the lake and the birds were singing and everything.
Then the sunrise, which is hints that it's a new day.
Back in the light again. Yeah.
And of course, some of the blood from Amy kind of goes back into the canister. I don't know what that means.
I don't know. I was a bit confused on that, but
I would have thought that would have been the demon, maybe.
I don't know.
Anyway, the group hugs and they watch their friends, their dead friends, walking into the lake, hinting that a bit of a doing the baptism ritual.
And they just disappeared. We like to think they went on to a better place.
A better afterlife.
Yes. To heaven or wherever.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway, Garrett and Jess, they take a moment to walk down through the park. And Jess is about to continue on, but Garrett stays behind.
I can't go any further.
Because he's not alive.
He's only I suppose a ghost, really, but a solid ghost.
Yeah, for some reason, his body was not corrupted by Amy, for some reason.
No, because he didn't let it somehow... I don't know. Maybe his bad became good and he was
I like to think that
stronger personality.
That whatever transfers between Jesse and Garrett, I think that part of her was kind of protected him. Whatever was protecting her
they were
was
walking down
protecting
this
him.
pathway, and when they come around the corner, their seat where they actually carved their names into it when they were kids, you see his dead body sitting there, and then she's looking at him, and he's in two places. He's standing next to her, and he's on the park bench. He's been dead for the past hour or so.
Yeah, and his body's been very grey looking.
Well, you would go a bit grey if you were dead too, probably.
Anyway, they then kiss, and she knows, and then make their parting, and he returns to the lake, and where he encounters his dad.
His dad's standing there. Because his dad was killed there by the other sheriff guy.
Yeah, and they embrace, and they go off to the afterlife.
Disappear, yeah.
Then we flash forward, and
sideways.
Jessie's now attending in her college of her dreams. And
that's right,
she gets a postcard from her two friends, Blair and Drew, who are now dating, which I think is kind of nice, and at the same time confusing. But
but you have to understand the logic of it. But let's move on from their relationship.
Yeah. So Blair and Drew, they're going to Seattle to attend a David Bowie concert.
Yeah, because they talk. When Drew was being a female a couple of years earlier, she gave Blair a David Bowie tape because the David Bowie is great, and he does whatever he likes. He dresses up funny and weird and stuff. He doesn't care what people worry about, and they had a common bond of David Bowie music.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then we go back to the camp, and it's all peaceful, quiet, and we somehow do a point of view shot.
Well, it's a drawing back.
Yeah, which makes me wonder if the demon is still somewhere
don't know.
in the woods.
Well, there's a big sign saying Camp Stillwater or whatever, and then you see for sale. That's how it started.
Yeah, and what makes me wonder at the end is the camp going to be repeat the same cycle again?
You know what they should do? They should go through there, all right, get a bulldozer, take all the trees out, cover up the cave, knock all the buildings down, and build something else there.
I don't know.
A prison would be nice.
Anyway, that's the end of the series.
Okay.
And as I said before, Blair and Drew's relationship, I can't work out what that's about mostly.
No, well, I can sort of get it, because if Drew is a female, but it's got a boy mentality and wants to be a boy, and she is masculine, not a girl, she's a boy girl, and Blair is a gay boy looking for acceptance with a gay boy, well, she's the next best thing, and they got a mutual attraction for each other, so why not?
True.
So he's not going to judge her, and she's not going to judge him.
Yeah.
So that probably something like that.
I guess it takes all kinds, and as I said, and I'm trying to keep an open mind. I've seen strange things, and I try to accept them as much as I can.
Oh, I've seen many strange things over the years. Things I cannot tell you. If I tell you, you'd be horrified.
Anyway,
no, sorry.
I have been through a lot of things, and I'm trying not to judge people when their choices.
I never judge. I mean, I'm not perfect. I never said I was perfect, and no one would say I was perfect. I'm pretty damn good, but not that good. Yeah. Hey, puss. Hey, my cat's just down here. She's really cute.
Yeah.
She won't say anything. She's very shy.
Anyway, I do like the TV series. I may not watch it as many times as I want, but I do think it's pretty interesting.
Okay. Have we finished talking about the story?
Yeah.
Okay. Look, honestly, it's a good series. I think the only thing wrong with it is I think it was either there's too many episodes, they try to draw it out too long, or they didn't fill each episode with enough content to make each one interesting.
True.
So it's either could have been, say, 5 or 6 episodes, or a bit more action, a bit more jump scares, whatever, to make each episode interesting.
It does make me think about the comments and reviewers who keep complaining about we didn't get too much character development with all the other characters, even the ones who are not really important.
All the main ones you had everyone had a history. I mean, the main girl, Amy, at the beginning, is a poor little girl, and her flashback showed her as a nice little girl, and then the later flashback showed her not so pure, sweet, and innocent. The dark braces, Jessie, she had a mother who was a party animal, drug addict, whatever, drank too much, whatever. And Jessie was trying to get been accepted to go into another college out away from town or something or other. And her mum saying, well, what about me? Who's going to look after me?
Yeah.
So she had these sort of issues behind. This was all developed. Every main character in this show, even the camp leader, the one who actually owned the camp, Deb, she had some history when she was there when she was a kid, and then she became a lawyer or something rather, and then she decided to buy the place and do it up and get it rolling again. Everyone had a bit of history in here. So I don't know what this thing about character development. I got no idea. Everyone had a bit of development where it was needed. You don't want to go into too far. Yeah. But it was enough information to. Yeah.
I gotta admit that even though I don't think we have any. Do we have any reviews on other than for?
Oh, I have a couple of things I normally do.
I bet it's gonna be really hard.
No. Okay, I'm going to talk about a couple of things first. Not too many things. Okay, where am I? Here it is. I mentioned this a bit earlier, but I'll just recover it. In April 2016, Freeform announced that the series would premiere in June 2016. On November the 8th of the same year, they cancelled the series after one season. The series would have set its second season in 1970, 20 years earlier, and the third season to be set in the early 2000s, about 10 to 15 years later. So obviously they're going to do something at the camp, like a prequel, and maybe a sequel. Who knows? Don't know. Now, the filming began in March 2016 in Vancouver, so British Columbia somewhere.
Oh.
Mr. Horowitz, what's his first name? Adam. He directed the first episode of the pilot, but he and the other two guys wrote most of the episodes alone, except for one or two where they didn't do them. Somebody else had to write them for him, but most of the time they were involved, and maybe some other writers came in to help out.
Yeah, well, it has to make sure it has a continuation.
Well, they did. They were there, obviously, guiding.
As you said, it's like an anthology, and it has to follow with everyone.
The anthology would be the next one.
Yeah.
But each episode's got to be a continuation of the first one, sort of.
Yeah.
Anyway, reception, here we go. I won't take too much time with it, but there's some surprises here as well. Okay, it got mixed reviews. Now, Rotten Tomatoes, believe it or not, gave it a 63% approval rating. And the consensus reads, The Dead of Summer sets a spooky stage for a silly period creep fest, but its lack of actual scares adds to the altogether underwhelming experience. So they're saying it was good, but it could have had a bit more jump scares, a bit more action in it.
I see what you mean.
That's what I said. Okay. Now, Molly Freeman from Screen Rant, she gave a positive review. While the premise of Dead Summer sounds familiar to any horror movie fan, the show benefits from not being directly tied to an existing horror franchise, since it won't suffer for being compared to movies beloved by generations. So it's saying it was a standalone and was good as a standalone. Okay. So she liked it. Now, Sonia Saraya of Variety, she had a positive review. She said, makes a schlocky hour that never quite get boring. Okay?
Okay.
At the very least, while escaping the dog days of summer inside with the air conditioning, there's plenty of fun to be had in laughing at how bad this is. Now, in a nice way, I mean, it wasn't as polished as it could be, and I find television series tend to be nowhere near as good as a movie because they spend more time making a movie, hours-wise per episode, hours-wise per hour of film footage than they do for TV series. They churn them out a bit faster. So, that could be the problem. Now, Alex McGowan of the AV Club gave the first episode a C rating, stating the story is so clucky and the characters are so wafer thin, it all but evaporates into a haze of trite jump scare beats and hoary teen tropes.
In other words, what?
He didn't like it. Okay, now, here's one. The Hollywood Reporter gave a more negative review. Dead of Summer is just run-of-the-mill, unintentionally bad, a mismatch of genres and structures and stock characters that may aspire to something original and falls flat. So, like I said before, there was not enough jump scares and action stuff and that sort of stuff in the movie. They could have developed a tad more or shortened it to, say, 6 episodes or something and concertina it in a bit to actually make bring the jump scares closer together and bring up the suspense a bit. Now, here is a turnaround.
I hope it's a good one.
It is. As the series continued, reviews became more positive. Paul Daly of TV Fanatic gave a perfect score of 5 out of 5.
Sweet.
To the 5th episode. Okay. He's saying, How to Stay Alive in the Woods was a stellar episode of the freshman drama. It's a new drama. Yeah. We got so many reveals, and the pace was brisk.
What's that mean?
It was moving along quite nicely.
Okay, good.
Fingers crossed, the rest of the season plays out in this manner. So you see, pretty much saying that the 5th episode was pretty dang good. I was hoping the rest would stay at that level. So yeah, it had potential to be a bit more, but it let itself down a bit.
Yeah.
Now, getting down to availability. A couple of things here. Being a TV series, it's hard to get anyway, but
Yeah.
it's not available on eBay.
Oh,
Wait a minute. Amazon, it's available on Prime.
okay.
No. You can't buy it as a hard copy. On Prime, you can buy it as a downloadable copy.
Okay.
But if they've got it, some other selling platforms might have it as well. Now, I'm going to make it a bit of an apology for myself. Over the past 18 months or so, I've been saying Prime is rentable. It's not rentable. I actually mean to say downloadable. Okay, right? Yeah, I know I'm a goose. I know I'm picked up. I know I'm sending emails emails to Sarah saying he's an idiot. Thank you for that. But yeah, I meant to say it was downloadable copy. Yeah, but yeah, I'm a silly old man. I'm cracking 70. Crikey, give me a break. Anyway, yeah, so it's available on Prime if you want to download a copy of it. It's not that expensive. You do the whole series for under $10, I think. So it's not a bad watch. It could be a little bit more dynamic, but it does have interesting characters.
Yeah.
The twist at the end is good, but
Yeah.
where the good girl is not the good girl. The one you think might be not the good girl is the good girl.
Yeah, this is like a cross between Exorcist and Sleepaway Camp. With Angela Baker, we start off thinking that she's a good girl, but then we find out later on.
She's a homicidal maniac.
Yeah, it's
well,
like with her, with Amy. We think that she's innocent, but then we find out she's not innocent.
Yeah,
and she's
it's good. It's good fun. It's good, interesting. And to me, look, I'm an old guy. I'm 70 in a couple of years' time, and this is aimed at a teenage audience. And honestly, I enjoyed watching it. No, I was not riveted to my seat. Yes, it had a few little flaws insofar as it could have been a little bit more suspense in it, a little bit more action, and a few more jump scares. But it was watchable by an old fart like me. So I think teenage viewers would probably enjoy it a lot more than I would.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's very relatable, considering that that some kids may have, when you think about it, a lot of kids deal with change, and they want to recreate the wheel by changing themselves
and being away from mum and dad and school and everything, they can be a new person.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah. When you go to camp, and I went to camp, but all I felt back then was homesick.
Yeah, but different sort of camp. That was brownies, wasn't it? Something was school camp.
It was not brownies.
That was a school camp. Julie went to brownies.
It was when I was my teacher, Mr. I won't tell you his name, but
Mr. Man.
he would often take us to camp for a week, and I was so homesick. I couldn't eat the camp food because I'm not used. I don't eat certain foods that they will order off for me because I'm not that into that sort of thing.
Do you have more cockroaches with your food? No, I'm fine, thank you.
Yeah, and they just offered food that I don't usually eat from home. So I was very lonely and very sad.
No comfort food, no chips, no lollies.
It's not that, Mike. It wasn't. I mean, I did eat healthy back then.
Yes. And you're eating healthy now.
And the food back then was strange to me.
Yes, she had a strange appetite when she was a young child. Yeah.
Yeah, so I ate differently. So anyway,
let's move along. I'm going to grade this now.
Well, I just want to say one thing about Amy. I did suspect her because most of the time she acted too nice. Like, you knew something sinister from her.
Actually, I will say something before I do a grade too. There's a girl in here.
Okay.
Zelda Williams. Mm-hmm. She played Drew, stroke Andrea, the girl who wanted to be a boy. Now, they what's the word? I'm trying to get the right words. They dumbed down her look so much to be so boyish.
Very clever.
She looks a lot. They've done a really good job of changing her image to be like that because she's nothing like that. I saw some photographs of her. She's a very attractive young woman.
Yeah,
and
true.
she looks very lovely. Doesn't look a thing like that. So yeah, and her personality that she put into the role, she really made that part hers. Yeah, she's really good.
Yeah, I thought her flashback was pretty sad. When she was a little girl. Her mother wanted to dress her up like a miniature mini me.
A mini me, yeah.
And all that stuff.
Well, I tell you that the reason why she's down and dressed like a mini me is because she didn't want to buy any. She didn't want to choose any girl clothes herself. She wanted to dress as a boy, and Mum had to buy the clothes for her because she didn't choose anything.
Yeah.
So like Mum had to put her something. What have sackcloth or something or other?
Yeah.
Walk around the towel. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah. By the end of the flashback, her Mum pretended that to accept her, but then
Mum just cleared the house out and left and moved and left her by herself.
Yeah.
What mother or father could actually just walk away from the kid and say, I can't accept this, see you later, and then strip the house, take everything and run away and go to parts unknown?
I read somewhere the director said that he based Drew's character on a person of his he knew who went through this sort of experience.
I think that's really nasty and horrible.
And this could have been, as I said before, these people who are directing and producing it may have been lived around the 80s and had experienced experienced firsthand of horrible behaviour like that.
I felt like leaving you behind a couple of times.
Yeah,
But I never did. I didn't change the locks when he went out.
Oh, you didn't.
I thought about it. No,
funny.
No, the point is, you don't do that. But see, as a school kid, how's he going to survive?
True.
Honestly.
I heard of stories where parents would abandon their children, and it's kind of sad, and I do think that it's not right.
Yeah, no. So if they know somebody like that, my heart goes out to them because that should not happen.
True. No. Anyway.
No matter how bad you are. How bad they are.
Yeah. I did think, I think I never suspected that Jessie would be the nice girl, final girl at the end.
It's good. In that part of it, the show went quite good because you really didn't know who the bad ones were. I say naughty, but yeah, was it the blonde, Amy, or was the other girl, Braces, Jessie, who was actually going to be bad? Was Holyoke a good guy or a bad guy? The spirit, you didn't really know until getting towards the end of the series. You go, okay.
Yeah, maybe that's
a bit of role reversal stuff here,
maybe
folks.
That's why some of those reviewers, the earlier reviewers,
they didn't care.
They didn't bother to watch the whole series before making a flash judgment.
They saw the first couple of hours lame. Well, yeah, they're building it up.
Yeah.
The first 20 minutes of a movie, if you watch a movie, sometimes just setting the pace.
Yeah, for sure. We get the first kill in episode 2, but we don't see it happen. And then we flash forward. After, say, 4 or 5 episodes later, another kid gets killed, knocked off.
Yeah, but the other stuff going on. There's a bit of story building and storyline building and the plot behind it, if the Satanist or whatever, and other things. And they're developing all that and they're getting it set for the next part.
This is not just another slasher TV series.
It's a bit more of a horror drama, supernatural slasher thing. Yeah. So it's a little bit different.
It does a little bit of unsolved mysteries here in this one. So
it's better than some of the movies that I have seen, but it lacks that dynamics that have had action and jump scares. It could have been a little bit better or a bit shorter to make it work better.
Yeah, in some of the scenes you may see in the background someone watching TV that talks about cultists on the news. Gosh.
Doing that, sort of trying to set the image.
Yeah, set the image that there might have been cultists. And they said something about, in one of the dialogues, it said they're hiding in plain sight.
They are. You wouldn't know. And there was. The sheriff was one of them. He was the leader. He was called the teacher. He was the leader of the group. Yeah. And he was a sheriff.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm going to grade it now.
Me
You
too.
Finished? Look, I would give it up around 9.5 if it was a little bit more dynamic, a bit more jump scares and didn't drag us. So I'm going to drop it down to 8.5 purely for the fact that, they could have done a lot more with it.
Yeah.
However, the filming's good, the characters are good, the storyline's good. It just could have got that little bit extra to make it exceptionally good.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you, Mike. It's pretty good, and I really enjoyed the twist ending.
Yeah, twist endings. Oh, I always love twist endings, and I always like to see a familiar face.
Yeah.
Who?
Tony Todd.
Yeah, exactly. You're right, Tony Todd. It's good to see a familiar face get a cameo or a bit role in some
I
of these
certainly thought it was
movies.
interesting that Tony Todd took the opportunity to do a TV series.
Well,
although I heard in an interview one time, actually a cameo, I talked to him about slasher films and how to make them, and he says that he's often did a lot of independent and big or small film projects, and he likes doing every single one of them.
Yeah, see, I mean, he's not. I'm going to use some naughty language here. He's not full of pretentious bullshit. He's a good man who likes to act. How's that?
Quite right.
Yeah,
and I certainly think I would, if I had the
I like
chance,
Tony Todd, he's good.
I would love to get an actor for, I don't know what, a horror movie with an intense, interesting voice as his.
Oh, he got a beautiful. And like I said mentioned before, I like his voice, and I like Tobin Bell's voice. Both of them just come over nice, but menacing. Bit creepy when they put the right inflections in there, and you go, ooh, they'd really bring a part to life or death in their case. Anyway, I really like those two guys. Their voice is just great.
Yeah, I hope that one day I could find one for one of my horror movies one day, stories one day. I not the current one I'm working on at the moment because my character for that. Killer is not going to have a speaking role.
You're going to be a bit like a Jason Voorhees type,
something like that.
Silent, brooding type.
Oh, by the way, guys, before we cut off, I should mention I took the liberty of getting my own copy of Elvira last week.
Oh yeah, what's it called? What's the name of the book?
Let me see, Cruelty.
And Cruelly Yours.
Cruelty Yours.
Yeah,
Elvira.
Cruelly Yours, Uncruelly Yours. Yeah, Cruelly Yours. Yeah.
Yeah, like saying.
Yours truly, or
yours truly.
Yours cruelly, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yours truly.
Yeah, so it's like her memoirs, if you will.
Yeah, biography, memoirs. And see, I love Cassandra, and that not in the wrong way, but I've heard so much about her over the years, and how hard it's been for her in some different aspects of the system. And now she's got the book, and it's just filling in more blanks. So she's a really strong woman that you need to admire.
And I got to admire that how she stepped forward and opened up that she let loose the secret that she's been hiding for, like, say, 10 years.
But the point is that, she's had a hard life in many ways.
Yeah.
And she's really done a lot to put that behind her, get over it, and just get on for life. And I really admire the woman.
Yeah.
Way to go, Cassandra.
All I get a lot in the media that keeps talking about how much that she came out of the closet and all that stuff. And they never think about the other stuff that's in the book that might be relevant.
There's more important stuff in there. And she's
like,
really... Look, when are we selling a book now, are we? Do you get a line fee for sales, do you?
No.
Okay.
But I do wonder, why can't they look at the other stuff that's in there? I mean, there's some interesting stuff I never even thought were that took place in Elvira's life. Did you know, guys, that when she was being auditioned for the role of Elvira,
A long time ago.
Vampire objected to her being in that role, and they had to change the name of the of Movie Macabre. Instead of making it Elvira Movie Macabre, they had to. It was originally a vampire Movie Macabre or something like that.
They didn't want his name, so I didn't get all the cast or whatever there to write names down and put them into a coffee tin or something.
Write them in little slips of paper and then.
And they pulled out Elvira, and you think about Elvira, there's a country song called Elvira, and nice been a country music guy there, and the Elvira, and I go, hey, it's not bad. Got evil Elvira. It seems to
Dark,
work quite
sinister.
Yeah, yes,
Works
it
well.
worked. I like it. Great name.
Yeah, and then after Elvira got such a big splash, Vampire decides to sue the poor lady.
Well, not Vampire, the lady, Numi, something, Maya Numi.
Maya
Numi.
Yeah, and of course she didn't appear at court. I think she had no leg to stand on.
No, she's in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Then
she she sent out. When Elvira was becoming very famous and was given the offer to make a cartoon series called Little Elvira, Vampire sent some pornography photos of her,
the pornography.
And the producers decided to cancel the cartoon contract.
Elvira was an exotic dancer when she was younger. I don't know if it's pornography. There's a difference between nude photographs and pornography.
Okay,
get it right.
Nudity.
I don't think Cassandra would.
Okay, it's nudity. It said nudity.
And back in those days, they thought, oh no, we don't want that getting out. A kiddie show, yeah, and that's rude. That's really nasty and horrible.
Yeah.
And see, Cassandra could have taken her to court and won a legal claim against her, but she's a stronger lady. She didn't bother.
I just think that was poor pull of that Vampire for doing that. She's lost. There's no chance in hell I'll ever like Vampire TV series ever in my life now. But now that I've heard about
there isn't any vampire stuff hanging around.
Well,
it just goes back too far away. And they didn't. It wasn't videotape. It was all wet tape back in those days.
Tape.
And it's all been thrown away.
Anyway, there's no chance in hell I'm ever going to like her stuff ever in my life.
Well, I got one crappy film clip of her off YouTube. Never. She's nowhere near as good as Elvira anyway.
Yeah, so there's
Elvira's
no chance in hell.
always been... See, I don't know what her claim to fame was before she became Vampira, but Elvira, Cassandra was a dancer, actress, comedian, had all these other skills up her sleeve. And she really used them well when she was doing the Elvira personality. Yeah. She's great.
Another incident, I think that Vampire wanted to cast an African black singer to play...
An African-American.
African-American black singer.
I just said that. They don't like the word black.
Yeah, sorry, guys.
Afro-American singer.
African-American singer, and I keep wondering if she's trying to... She says that at the beginning this was going to be Vampire's daughter, and I've seen Vampire, and she is not looks like African American.
She's about as pale as a china plate, so how can we be Vampire's daughter?
Yeah.
Anyway, let's go. These people want to go to bed now.
Yeah, sorry, folks. Anyway, another thing I should mention, guys, is that this week is our final week to sell tickets to our film premiere. You guys heard about it. About my upcoming film, Attack of the Cat People.
You local people in Brisbane. Obviously, you Americans can do it too, but you got to fly over. No. We're not paying.
No plane line tickets for you guys.
And we probably got locked down anyway. So, but anyway, anyone in Brisbane who's keen to come to the premiere of Sarah's movie, what's the name of the Eventbrite? Is it?
What?
Where do you buy the tickets?
Eventbrite.
Eventbrite. So if we go on Sarah's site, you'll have a link to it, will you?
I'll have a link in the description bar below.
Yeah. So anyone in Brisbane wants to have a look at it. Limited tickets available where they're selling... Really I'm going to say they're selling like hotcakes, which actually sell like tickets.
So you have say... seeing as this will be Wednesday, we'll be releasing this, so you have only 2 days to order your tickets.
Yeah, because the cutoff is the 15th
of October. Yeah. So you better start buying now.
Yeah, rattle the old money box there, guys.
Yes. Yeah. The tickets cost about $22.
$20.
22.
22. Oh, 22. Sorry, my mistake.
$22 and a few cents.
Okay, $20 and a few cents. And that covers snack food and a complimentary drink. So your ticket cost is only covering expenses, and we're not making money out of it. So yeah, it's helping us to put the function on.
All right, that's about it for us tonight. So thanks for listening to this latest podcast, everyone. I'll see you guys for our next one. Hopefully we'll probably be doing a Halloween themed
it's getting close
movie,
to Halloween now.
considering that we're going to be doing we're going to try to work out which kind of Halloween episodes we might pull off.
Yeah, do we do a Halloween movie or movies that are popular at Halloween? We've got to find those, because there's not a lot of Halloween type movies out there.
Well, I'm thinking for my next one,
we've done Trick or Treat and stuff.
Well, I'm going to run up a few ideas, so I'll let you guys know.
And we're not going to do the Halloween franchise.
No, not the moment. I think we're at the moment they're doing Halloween Kills, the new movie at the moment. So feel free to check that out.
So we'll see if we can find something surprising.
I'm thinking maybe I'm thinking of the cartoon Addams Family might be good. The cartoon.
Yeah.
Not the one that's coming out as we speak,
No,
but I will tell you guys about that one coming up.
Yeah, but we can do a couple of things like
So
gothic sort of Halloweeny sort of stuff.
Seeing as I do like the Addams Family, and I do like Wednesday's my favorite because she's always so cool.
I like the original Wednesday Addams in the TV series. She's a cute little girl. Mm-hmm. And then along came Christina Ricci. And I must say that when she did the part, she astounded me. She's, to me, the Wednesday Addams. So, Christina, you did a really good job there.
So, that's about it for us, guys. So, I'll let you guys know later on what we've decided. So, have a good week, guys. And I'll see you guys for our next podcast. So, see you guys around. Bye for now.
Pleasant dreams.
You are now.
Bye.